Sometimes life feels like walking through a crowded market. Everyone's shouting, bargaining, selling, complaining, and in that noise, someone says something that hits you like an arrow. Maybe it's a colleague, maybe a family member, maybe a stranger online, and in that split second, your peace is gone. You replay those words in your mind again and again, like a broken record. But let me ask you this. If a stranger walks up to you on the street and says, "You're a blue elephant," would you take it personally? Of course not. Why? Because you know it's not true. You'd probably laugh. Then why do we give so much weight to other people's careless words? Because somewhere deep down, we allow them to touch the part of us that's uncertain, insecure, or seeking approval. The first step to staying calm, no matter what, is to realize this simple truth: people's words are often not about you at all. They're mirrors reflecting their own frustrations, fears, and life experiences. When someone lashes out, they might be carrying a burden you know nothing about. Think about it. If a glass is full of milk and you shake it, milk spills out. If it's full of poison, poison spills out. People spill what's inside them. Your job is not to drink it. But here's the real challenge. How do you actually stop drinking it? How do you train your mind not to swallow every criticism, every judgment, every opinion? You do it by remembering who you are, not who they say you are. If your self-worth is tied to other people's validation, you will live like a puppet, dancing to the strings of praise and criticism. But if your worth is anchored in your values, your character, and your purpose, then no matter what anyone says, you'll be rooted like a tree in a storm. The second thing, and this is powerful, is to pause before you respond. Most people react instantly, like pressing a button on a machine. But you are not a machine. You are a human being with the ability to choose. So when someone provokes you, breathe. Let their words pass through you like wind through an open window. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? If the answer is no, don't give it the energy to matter now. Remember, calmness is not weakness. It's strength under control. It's choosing not to get pulled into the storm, even when the storm is raging right in front of you. And the truth is, the world will never stop talking. Some will love you, some will misunderstand you, and some will judge you without knowing your story. But when you master the art of not taking things personally, you master the art of living in peace, no matter what's happening around you. There's a simple but life-changing truth that many people never fully embrace. Most of what people say to you, whether it's praise or criticism, is less about you and more about them. Think about that for a moment. Every person sees the world through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, fears, and wounds. When they speak, they are not delivering a universal truth about who you are. They are expressing a reflection of what's happening inside them. The problem is, we often make the mistake of receiving their words as a direct verdict on our worth. That's where the pain begins. Imagine two people looking at the same sunset. One, having had a terrible day, says, "It's dull today, not impressive at all." The other, having just received good news, says, "This is the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen." The sunset didn't change, only their state of mind did. The same happens with you. People's perception of you is colored by their internal state, not by the full reality of who you are. So when someone insults you, it's not always a reflection of your flaws. Often, it's a projection of their own inner struggles. If someone is filled with kindness, encouragement spills from their mouth. If they're filled with bitterness, criticism becomes their language. It's like carrying a cup of coffee. If you bump into someone, coffee spills out. If you're filled with anger and life shakes you, anger spills out. Their reaction to you is their spill, not your truth. Recognizing this takes away a lot of the sting from hurtful comments because you stop seeing them as personal attacks and start seeing them as signs of what the other person is carrying. But here's where we often go wrong. We take their projections and make them personal. We carry them home, replay them in our minds, and even let them shape how we see ourselves. This is dangerous because when you allow someone's passing opinion to determine your self-worth, you are handing over control of your emotional life to them. It's like giving your house keys to a stranger and then wondering why they rearrange the furniture. Think about the times you've been misunderstood or judged unfairly. Didn't it often come from people who didn't know the full story? Maybe they saw one moment of your life and assumed they understood everything about you. But their view was like looking through a keyhole and claiming to know the entire room. That's how limited human perception is. So why let their narrow view become the mirror you look into to decide who you are? One way to free yourself from this trap is to practice seeing people's words as clouds passing through the sky, temporary, ever-changing, shaped by the wind of their emotions and experiences. Some clouds are light and beautiful, others are dark and stormy, but none of them define the sky itself. You are the sky. You remain vast, constant, and unaffected by the passing weather. This doesn't mean we ignore feedback altogether. Wise feedback, offered with sincerity and care, can help us grow. But there's a big difference between feedback and projection. Feedback aims to help you. Projection simply unloads the other person's internal weight onto you. Learning to tell the difference is part of emotional maturity. You can listen, discern what's useful, and let the rest pass without letting it penetrate your heart. It's also important to remember that you've probably done the same to others without realizing it. We've all spoken from a place of hurt or frustration and projected that onto someone else. Recognizing this in ourselves helps us extend compassion to others when they do it to us. Instead of instantly reacting with anger, we can respond with understanding. We can think, this is about what they're going through, not about who I am. That shift in perspective turns a personal attack into an opportunity for empathy. When you internalize this principle, you start living lighter. You no longer feel the need to fight every negative word or prove yourself to every critic. You stop exhausting yourself trying to change how people see you, because you understand that their vision is shaped by their own lens. You focus instead on living in alignment with your values, your truth, and your purpose. And that's when you discover something powerful. Your peace no longer depends on their approval. In the end, it's not about ignoring people or becoming cold. It's about seeing clearly. When you understand that people's words are a reflection of their inner world and not your worth, you stop taking things personally and you start living with the kind of freedom that can't be shaken by anyone's opinion. You become rooted like a strong tree that stands firm no matter what storms pass overhead. And that kind of inner stability is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Your worth is not a prize to be awarded by the applause of others, nor is it a sentence to be reduced by their criticism. Yet so many of us live as if our value is a number that rises and falls depending on what people say about us. One compliment can make us feel like we are on top of the world, and one criticism can make us question everything about ourselves. This constant swinging between pride and doubt is exhausting because it means your emotional stability depends on forces you can't control. If you want lasting peace, you have to detach your self-worth from external opinions. The truth is, people's opinions are fluid. They can admire you today and misunderstand you tomorrow. A friend can be your biggest supporter one season and your harshest critic the next. If your identity is anchored to that, you will always feel like you are walking on a fragile bridge that can collapse at any moment. Detachment doesn't mean arrogance or not caring at all. It means knowing who you are so deeply that outside voices, whether sweet or sour, can't shake your foundation. Think about a diamond. Its value doesn't change whether it is praised or ignored. Even if someone who doesn't understand its worth calls it just a rock, the diamond remains precious. Why? Because its value is inherent, not assigned by someone's opinion. In the same way, your worth exists because of the person you were created to be, not because of how many people approve of you. One of the reasons we get trapped in seeking validation is because from childhood we are conditioned to look outside for approval. Good grades get you praise, mistakes get you scolding. We learn to chase the smile and avoid the frown. As adults, this same pattern continues, except now it's through social media likes, workplace recognition, or social acceptance. Slowly, without even realizing it, we start measuring our entire existence against how others respond to us. This is dangerous because people's reactions are often based on their own needs, expectations, and biases, not on the full truth of who you are. When you detach from this pattern, something beautiful happens. You stop living in constant performance mode. You no longer feel the need to adjust your personality just to win someone's approval. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who have already decided what they think about you. You start living from a place of authenticity, where your actions are guided by your principles, not by fear of judgment or hunger for applause. This detachment doesn't happen overnight. It is a discipline. It begins with self-awareness. You have to notice the moments when your mood changes because of someone's comment or reaction. When you catch yourself feeling low after a criticism, pause and ask, did what they say really define me, or is this just their opinion? Often, you'll realize that it's just a passing perspective that doesn't deserve the power you've given it. It also helps to have a clear sense of your own values and purpose. If you know what you stand for and what matters most to you, you can filter opinions through that lens. For example, if someone criticizes your kindness as weakness, but kindness is a core value for you, their words lose their sting. You won't abandon your principles just to satisfy their view. This is how you protect your integrity and peace. Another key step is to remember that the same people who lift you up today can tear you down tomorrow if you stop meeting their expectations. If you rely on their praise to feel worthy, you give them the power to destroy you with their criticism. That's a dangerous form of dependency. True confidence comes when you know that you can face misunderstanding, disapproval, or even rejection and still hold your head high. Detaching your self-worth from external opinions doesn't make you immune to hurt. It makes you resilient. You may still feel the sting of a harsh word, but you won't let it sink deep into your identity. You may enjoy a compliment, but you won't become addicted to needing it. Your sense of self becomes steady, like a lighthouse that stands firm whether the sea is calm or stormy. When you finally understand that your worth is not something others can give or take away, you stop chasing validation and start living in freedom. You speak your truth without fear. You make choices that align with your principles, not with the crowd's approval. And most importantly, You find a peace that doesn't rise and fall with the opinions around you because your value comes from within and remains unshaken. One of the greatest strengths you can develop in life is the ability to pause between what happens to you and how you respond. Most people live in constant reaction mode. Someone says something hurtful, and they immediately snap back. A situation doesn't go as planned, and they instantly lose their temper. In that moment, they are not acting with intention, they are being driven entirely by emotion. While emotions are a natural part of being human, letting them control your responses often leads to regret, damaged relationships, and unnecessary stress. The real power lies in responding from awareness, not emotion. Awareness means you are fully present in the moment and able to see the situation for what it is, not just how it feels. It's like being in the middle of a storm, but choosing to step under shelter before deciding your next move. Emotion driven reactions are like running straight into the storm because you feel the wind pushing you, quick, impulsive, and often harmful. When you respond from awareness, you're choosing to step back, observe the storm, and then act in a way that serves you and the situation best. Think about a time you reacted instantly in anger or frustration. Maybe you said something you didn't mean or made a decision you later regretted. In those moments, your brain was likely hijacked by emotion. Science even shows that strong emotions can temporarily shut down the rational part of your mind, making it harder to think clearly. That's why it's so important to create a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, awareness has space to step in and guide you toward a better choice. One of the simplest ways to do this is to practice pausing. When someone says something that stings, your instinct might be to defend yourself immediately. Instead, take a deep breath. Let the first wave of emotion wash over you without letting it spill into your words or actions. Remind yourself, this is just a moment. I don't have to answer from the heat of the feeling. That pause may be only a few seconds, but it's enough to prevent a reaction that could cause hours or even years of damage. Responding from awareness also means asking better questions in the moment. Instead of thinking, how dare they say that to me? You might ask, what's really going on here? Are they speaking from stress or misunderstanding? This shift moves you from a place of personal offense to a place of curiosity and perspective. When you look at the situation through a wider lens, you often see that it's not as personal as it feels. It's important to understand that awareness isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to manage emotion. You will still feel anger, disappointment, or hurt, but those feelings no longer get to be the driver of your actions. They become signals you observe rather than commands you obey. For example, anger can be a sign that a boundary has been crossed. Awareness allows you to address the boundary calmly and effectively rather than exploding and creating more conflict. Another benefit of responding from awareness is that it protects your peace. When you react impulsively, you often give the other person control over your emotional state. But when you respond from a grounded place, you keep that control for yourself. You can't stop people from saying or doing things that trigger you, but you can decide whether or not you hand them the keys to your mood. Over time, practicing awareness builds a kind of emotional muscle. At first, you might catch yourself only after reacting. But gradually, you'll notice the space before the reaction getting longer. You'll find yourself able to stay calm in situations that once set you off instantly. And as you do, you'll also notice a shift in how people respond to you. When you remain steady while others are losing their cool, it changes the energy of the interaction. Often, your calmness can even diffuse the other person's emotions. Responding from awareness instead of emotion is not about suppressing how you feel. It's about directing your feelings wisely. It's about remembering that you have a choice in every moment, no matter how intense the situation feels. And that choice, when made with clarity, can turn potential conflicts into opportunities for understanding and emotional chaos into moments of strength. By mastering this, you not only protect your relationships but also preserve your own inner peace, allowing you to move through life with a calm confidence that no storm can shake.